Determine the solubility in gram per 100 gram water of a substance using the following result. Mass of flask alone, 50.52 gram. Mass of flask and saturated solution, 92.55 gram. Mass of flask and solute, 58.27 gram. Options you have A is 226.0, B 92.55, C 34.28, D 22.60. Hello guys, welcome to Learn Chemistry with Oyinye, and today we are going to be solving a question on that solubility. First of all, you can see this question asks you to find solubility in gram per 100 gram of water. So you could be asked to look for solubility again in mole per dm cube. And if you've watched this video, you're going to understand how we look for solubility in mole per dm cube. Now in this question, how do we look for solubility in gram per 100 gram of water, or per the amount of water that we will be given in the question? So here we have parameters like mass of flask, we have mass of flask saturated solution, we have mass of flask and solute. Or like this question where we had the mass of the salt given directly, we have our volume given directly measured in cm cube. This question, we just have the mass of this, we have saturated solution. So how do we solve this? First of all, let's get the parameters. The first parameters that you should get when you see a question like this is the mass of the solute. And how do you get the mass of the solute? It is not given here. However, we can find it using this. So over here, you have the mass of flask alone. And here you have the mass of flask and saturated solution. And here you have the mass of flask and solute. So meaning that if I remove the mass of flask from this, I'm going to get the mass of my solute. So the first thing I want to look for is mass of solute. So this is 58.27 minus mass of flask alone, 50.52. So 7 minus 2 is 5. 2 minus 5, 12 minus 5 is 7. So remember you moved 1 from here. This is 57. 57 minus 50 is 7. Your mass is measured in grams, so mass of solute is 7.75 grams. Now, the next thing you want to look for is the mass of water here. Remember that you're calculating solubility in gram per 100 gram of water, so you're going to be needing the mass of water using dissolving this solute. So how do we get that? It was not given here. However, you have saturated solution. What does it mean for something to be a solution? It means that that thing has been dissolved in a liquid, in a solvent. So the solvent here is water. However, there's no water given, but we can get this saturated solution. Now, what is saturated solution made of? So a solution is made up of a solute and a solvent. So a solution is made up of a solute and a solvent. So if we can get the solution and remove the solute from the solution, it means that we're going to get mass of water. So how do we do that? Here is the saturated solution, but what's holding it is the mass of flask. So we're going to be removing mass of flask from the mass of flask and saturated solution. So we have your saturated solution. All right. So saturated solution, I'm going to have that as 92.55. That is the mass of flask and saturated solution minus 50.52. That is the mass of flask alone. So 5 minus 2 is 3. 5 minus 5 is 0. 92 minus 50 is 40. 40.03. So this is what we have as our saturated solution, mass of our saturated solution. However, like I said, what we need is the mass of solvent used in dissolving or making this solution. And how do we get this? Remember that the solution is equal to solvent and solute. Now, we already found that your solute is 7.75. So how we get mass of solvent or mass of water is equal to this mass of saturated solution, 40.03, minus mass of solute, 7.75. So let's quickly see that. 40.03 minus 7.75, 32.28, 32.28. So here we have our mass of water. So water is equal to 32.28 gram. Now, clean this. You have your mass of solute and you have your mass of water, which is 32.28 gram. And this is all you need from this whole information: the mass of your water and the mass of your solute. So how do you look for, or how do you find solubility in gram per 100 gram? Now, for this, we needed 32.28 gram to dissolve 7.75 gram of solute. Now, how many gram of solute will 100 gram of water dissolve? Minus 7.75, 34 points. So you have 34.28. So mass of water is 34.28. So you have 34.28. 100 gram of water will give you what? So you have 100 times 7.75 divided by 34.28, 22.60. So doing this, you're going to have 22.60, which corresponds to D. So this answer to solubility in gram per mole, in gram per 100 gram of water is 22.60. Now, if you understand this, solve the question on the screen to be sure that you understand what we just solved.